That sugar place you're talking about, Dad and Rupert Davis cut logs in there a few years ago, quite a few years ago. And they come up to this maple and they cut it, and they got over a wash tub full of honey syrup, bees out of it, and honey. There was an old swarm had gone in there, and stayed, I don't know how many years that had been in there. They never realized it until it went down, come out the ground, the goddamn thing split. And all them honeybees, they got a wash tub full of honey out of that.
What about the sugar house? Who owned that?
Well, a little later, Smith Davis owned that. Then Eddie Despo owned it. They shifted hands from Eddie to Gilbert Barra. I think it was Gilbert or somebody just before Gilbert. Didn't stay too long. Then Gilbert Barra bought it. Then Orris. Oh no, Barry. Pete Barry's dad owned that. And Pete Barry's dad sold it to Orris. And, I think it's Barry the one that owned the sugar house and the maples. Old Wind said he'd sugar it for him. He did all right.
When?
Patch. Oh, Wind.
Old Dry Wind.
Dry?
Old Dry. Yeah. Old Dry, they call him. And when he got done, he went down and got a lot of wine into him. He come out. All his pans were on fire. He burnt the goddamn sugar house to their nails. So that's what happened to sugar, isn't it? Barry thought he was going to get $1 million out of that sugar place for syrup and Dry was going to make. I guess he didn't even get paid for his pans.
Well, who owned it when you sugared up there?
Eddie Despo.
Oh, you forgot. Did you forget to mention Eddie owned it?
That's okay.
Shit, I was only about 12 years old then when I went in there. 12, 13.
So what did you use a team of horses in there?
Yep. Our horses. Bobsled, tank on it.
So how many trees do you think you tapped in there?
Shit, there wasn't too many. It was probably 300, right? No many more.
Is that
Old Gil Davis had a sugar house just the other side of the fence there. He tapped, of course, he probably tapped 1,800.
Is that sugar house gone now?
Yeah, that's over where the new horse farm is. That, the old Gil Davis.
Oh yeah, you logged down in there.
Yeah, I logged there, probably took 300,000 out of there. Been better.
You logged all over the mountains.
I logged that whole unit from Clay Hill way over that hill to Brook Hill. There was only just a few acres I haven't logged. I've done Morse's, I've done Susie Holmes's, I've done Davis's,
Well, who did you log?
Junior's.
Who owned the land where you and your father logged together with the horses? I know you owned horses, but...
That was over back of the Totville, where Tatro bought.
That was many years ago.
Yeah, we cut them big maples with Costco saw. In fact, we were the first.
In the 40s, I think.
We were the first loggers to have a two-man chainsaw. At that time, we had an old model saw, and we got it in Barry down to I can't think of the place now. That's years ago. And I'm telling you, if that wasn't a man killer.
What'd you ever do with that?
Oh, I don't know. If I'd had my way about it, I'd have run it over with a goddamn freight train.
Oh, it was heavy. That was a heavy thing.
You'd set that down, and if it pinched in a tree, that would kick back and into your knees and your kneecaps, and it'd almost kill you before you get onto your feet. I've had my kneecaps just raw where that screen had got in them and chewed them up.
I can remember the time that your horse got hurt bad up in the woods. You drove a stick up in it or something.
Yeah, we had one of them stupid bastards that were working for me that reached over and cut a stick with these small saplings, just cut the top off, let it up. It did all right. It let it right up, and when he did, it come right up on the horse's belly, and the horse jumped and drove that stick right in underneath the leg, right up. So the blood came out, streamed half big as your arm.
Yeah. But we didn't lose the horse.
No, I unhooked the horse, and I had a piece of t-shirt, and I could see a hole in there, and I stuffed that t-shirt, some of it, with cloth up in that hole. And I walked the son of a bitch over to the veterinary, Doc Scott lived right there on River Street. And I was logging over about half a mile from him up there. And
Is that Scottolini?
no,
Dr. Scott.
Doc Scott, Norm Scott's father. He's dead now. She's dead, and Jesus Christ, that's 50 years ago or better.
Dr. Scott was a veterinarian, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But he was better than some doctors they had.
Oh, yeah.
By God, the horse was weak, lost a lot of blood, but by God, it clotted up and it saved it.
And you logged with it again, I think, didn't you?
Yeah, yeah.
How many set of horses did you use and on all the time you was logging?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I can remember quite a few.
Yeah, a dozen pair probably.
You had some nice looking pairs.
I had a pair of mares that were almost like Dutch Beldams. Jesus Christ, they were beautiful pair of horses. The mother and the colt. Yeah.
How many feet of logs did they pull out?
Oh shit!
Day.
With that pair of horses, I could hitch the old mare onto a tree or onto some logs and send her down the trail. And I'd hitch a colt on behind her, and that old mare would go right down to head her, and the colt would follow. By God, somebody down to head her would unhitch her, and head her back up the trail, and she'd come up where I was, and the colt would down to unhitch her, the colt would turn around and follow her right back up on the mountain. I used to come on, and we never had to go between them. She knew, Jesus Christ, whoever trained her must have done a good job. I don't know who it is, but she came from Canada, them horses.
Well, look at the Belgian mare you gave me to log with. She did the same thing.
Oh yeah, shit.
She would do the same thing. You know, we were thought we needed to teach her how to pull the log.
Yeah, the horse knew more than Chick did.
She'd go down.
Oh, that's for sure. That horse knew more about pulling the Chick would try to get a driver, this and that, the horse wouldn't go. He'd done the lines up on the hame and told him go to hell. But when he did, the horse come right back in and away he went to head her with a tree. The way he's supposed to. She didn't want to get driven by somebody dumber than she was.
Hey, were you born in the 1920s? Was it 1927 club?
Yep.
Grandpa was born, your father was born 1925. And the father's in 27, yes, he was 2 years old.
So you probably don't remember that.
Frightened, I think I can vaguely remember the water. We was upstairs, and that road where I told it, off where looking towards the gristmill. We were upstairs in that house. And if I can remember that there's water up on them stairs.
You know where our bedroom was? Yeah. The bedroom before that.
And that's the only thing I can remember on that. Like,
We were told about the canoe or the boat going through from the...
Oh, Red Hooker went through the back door, went right out the front with...
Picked up your father.
Yeah, and picked up Edith Sherwin's red rooster. It was out on a log out there.
I got it right up.
Got the rooster, put him on to find the boat. That's what they had for supper, I guess.
It's an article that said Red Hooper remembers. It's down in there in my scrap book.
Yeah,
It talks about Keith's father and him
they
getting the
took
money
all
out of the
the
bank,
bank.
the money.
And put the higher ground off where it's safe.
Yeah, those two had the bank, all the bank money in that boat going with it, and Red said George and I almost went to Canada. We thought, why not? But we decided not to. Heidi told that story so many times. They were such good friends.
Tell tell a story about the wind patch and the snare.
Oh, yeah, that's a good story, Dad.
Oh, well, like old dry. Yeah.
That's what they call it, because you're drunk all the time, you know?
Yeah. Well, I picked him up down the village, he had some kerosene in gallon jugs. He was going home. So I picked him up, put him in the old pickup, way wet, and I got to his house. Of course, he didn't have no money, so
Wasn't a house, it was a shack.
it was a shack he put up. So he asked me to have dinner with him. And I said, I don't guess not. Well, I said, just come to the store. He said, get some fresh bread. He said, we'll have a little flat venison, he says. I said to myself, where'd he keep his venison in the middle of summer,
Because he lived in a shack.
So ended up, he went out next to Brook, and he reached right down in that mud in one corner, and he pulled out a quart of venison. It was giant down there. He brought it up. He washed the mud all off it out in the main brook. It didn't smell just right to me, so I said to him, I guess I ain't hungry. And I didn't eat, but he ate. He took the jar, corked it back up, put it down in that mud.
Well, the mud is cool.
And I tell you, I would have ate it, because it would have killed me. I don't know how the hell he ever lived by eating it, but he did.
He was a good man, though.
Wynn was a good fellow if some of the characters would leave him alone.
Yeah, young kids used to go up and pick on stole from him.
Yeah.
Little that he had.
They'd get up and make a lot of noises at night, and of course when Wynn got sell stuff on that sneaky Pete, he thought everything was after him, snakes or everything. And he'd take his shotgun out and he'd start shooting snakes right there in the camp.
Didn't he have some valuable piece of coin, or what was it?
I had a $5 gold piece or a certificate.
Certificate, that was it. And one of those kids, who used to pick on us.
Said the boy used to bring up 2 or 3 of these old girls, he says, from the village. And he says, you know how it is when you got a $5 gold piece sticking out. He said, really? He said, it didn't stay around very long. But he says, I could never find out which one of them took it. Oh, he's not old to live. He caught a deer in a snare one time up at the sugar place. Found an opening where a deer went through, and he put the snare in. And he said, instead of hooking his snare down the bottom of the tree where the deer jumped and break his neck, he hooked it up on the limb. And of course, when Wynn went up to cut the deer's throat, the deer run away from it, just fast as he could. About 2 jumps, and then it catch the end of the snare would come bring the deer right back towards Wynn, Well, he come up to the farm where Ted was. He said, Ted, that deer is trying to kill me up there. So Ted had to go out and kill the deer for him so he can get some meat.
Well, as a boy, you went to work on a farm when you was what, 9, 10 years old?
Oh yeah, Christ, really, I was. Van Lonigan, by Jesus Christ, I was up there when I was 10. Yeah, Mark Pass, Groves, worked for Edgar,
You did the chores and you walked to school. How many miles was it?
Well, One Shattuck was a place I worked first, up by the talc mill, talc mines. Lived out to where the Limlaws lived out there, and that Edna Ward.
They all knew how to work, being living in a family.
And Ward worked all day in the mines, down underground, with them carbide lights hitched onto the head, going for lights. And he'd be down there for 12 hours a day, and then he'd come home, go to milking. Of course, I was there. Watts was there. There was his other son was there, but they didn't like the farm too well. They get out and stay in the village.
Oh, I'm looking for something.
So there's Helen and I used to do the chores. Helen drove her, and I had a horse who drove from the farm down, and we put the a horse over at Dad's barn over there. We had four horse stalls in there. Usually there'd be 4 horses in that during the day. The native girl, Yvonne, used to keep her horse over there. She used to go back for school. Then there's a Chet Hare, used to bring his off the other side. The mountain. There used to be, there's room for 4 horses. Usually there was a horse in there during the day out in the stalls. God, Yvonne Nadeau's one that, I think, kept her horse the longest there. I think she kept her horse there for as long as she went to high school, or from the 8th grade up through. That's Albert's sister. Yeah. Them days are all gone. Yeah. I used to walk from my grandmother's house on the hill up there, 4 miles down. After school, walk 4 miles back. And go to work. Wasn't bad enough for 4 miles. Then you had to get up there, you had to go right to work after you got home.
So was that your grandmother lived on a Hughes farm?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, she lived to be 101, didn't she, Pete?
Yeah. She'd lived longer than that. The mailman hadn't stopped so many times. You thought I was going to say milkman, didn't you, Bob?
Yeah. How are you?
How are you? Pretty good. You have a good nap.
So, were you born in this house here?
Yeah.
Either that one or the farm, I can't tell which.
No, you was the first child born at your father's house. You just got it built.
Yeah. You see that barn out there for the house? You noticed how it sits now? It used to sit right opposite. You see on that old picture that we've got here from town books,
Town report.
town report, you see that there was 2 different pieces of barn out there. They're all turned around and put right together. That main barn out there, if you look, that big center beam, they was turned around and put right together. You know, and the barn's the other way.
I read in some Vermont history book that the beams that are in that barn were part of a livery stable or something from somewhere else.
Well, it could have been.
Well, in the history of Johnson, they've got it that barn was the Bradley home. But it isn't that. His father built the new home, and that was the barn, because he used to have to cook up there.
There was a log cabin, right where the old house where the house is now. I can't, it was deeded to Andy Potlow, and there was an Emmerich before that had that. So then they tore the log house down. There's a big well right where that big tree is now. It's about 30 foot deep in there. Then they took and filled that all full of blocks and bricks and stuff. So it wouldn't, some kid wouldn't get into it.
So, where did, what about the building next door where the apartments are, where Pop O'Dell lived? When did Pop O'Dell come there?
Well, that was after Barrels. They had a store there. They had one old Pop Ma store, Mom and Pa store, what do they call it there. They lived, Homer Barrels, lived just across the road. That big was the second house up.
Where,
Wilbur Barrels, of course they run that store.
where Mrs. Mason used to
No,
live?
on this side, yeah.
Oh.
So,
Where Davis's apartments are?
No, next one up. That was a Barrow's place.
Oh, where the college one there?
I don't know, college didn't own that at that time.
But is that the building that?
They owned it down, then they sold it, then Gordy Davis the same way. That used to be a nice home in there on the corner of that greenhouse.
Yeah.
Used to be, a few girls stayed there from normal school. Then they had this one up here with the Waddy Waters house.
The first one?
No, the Waddy Waters house is where they're holding the school up here. These kids. There you got
Larway?
Larway. That used to be a farm, that Waddy Waters farm. And then the Mills brothers owned this one where the food stalls are. That's years ago. This out on School Street here was all swamp at one time. Dad owned it right out through, right up where the REA is.
So is that how Wayne and them got their land? Is
Yeah,
your father's
Wayne and Harry. They bought it from Dad, Mom. They built it up there.
What about Messier's house?
O.V. Despo was in that.
So he didn't own that?
O.V. owned it. Yeah. Then Hazel Stewart lived there. Ray Barry owned this in here at, Dad owned this one time, and I think he sold it to Ray Barry. Ray Barry sold it to old Albert. And then old Albert gave it to Roger. Or after he died there.
What was Albert's last name?
Dolan.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was, we used to have a livery stable right here where the old hotel used to be, right there, out back where the town garage is, out.
Yeah.
That burnt, and they built a town garage out there. And then we used to have horses, used to carry mail with the horses from depot over here, and freight along with horses. And Dad had horses over on the White Farm, and they used them to haul talc out of the talc mines. 4-horse teams. Used to go up the mines, load up talc, come back, and sometimes make 2 trips a day out there.
So the talc mines up by Patches?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And then they brought it down here to the talc mines?
yeah, in wagons.
So are those 2 separate talc mines then? Or are they different?
No, they're the same talc mines.
But do they get talc from the one down on Railroad Street too?
No, that's a mill.
That's where they process it?
Yeah, but there's a talc mines right side of that.
Up on that hill?
Yeah, right in and under that hill, French Hill. There's another one there. There's another one down to below the my farm. Old Jeff they had in there. Manchester owns that now.
Now, are they blocked off in mines, or can people go?
Well, I think they're blocked off because you're supposed to work in them so much a year, so many hours a year. And they was doing that one down there for quite a while. Then I guess they give up on it.
They flooded them, didn't they? Or they?
No, they flood themselves when they get there.
So what was, where C.H. Stearns was that always a grain mill there?
Over here,
Yeah.
as far as I can remember, that used to be. And then that burnt. One night, I woke up in the morning and of course that burnt during the night and I never knew it.
Was it as big as what it is now, or was it a littler?
I think it was smaller, but they made it one big building. God, that's a nice building too.
Now it's the
I wish I had a picture when the dam was there. I remember going fishing off that dam.
The glad used to dive off.
can remember an old Edith Wesley drowned herself down back on the rocks.
Where was that? Down back where?
You look off them, point there on them rocks, right? You look right down from the
Oh, the
bridge.
town garage?
Yeah. You know, we used to have a lot of water going through on them bridges at one time. In the last few years, the water's cut right down half. They that much. And you're gonna see less too. Less water coming down through.
Why?
Everybody used it.
They say that, like I know Dad says he remembers brooks around over when he was a kid.
Yeah.
You know, he said he used to fish in them all the time.
Oh shit, yeah.
He said now they're so small the trout can't live in them.
Yeah.
And he said a forester was telling him that Caleb, don't get under there. Grandpa sits down that first year. He said it's because of these the hardwood trees. He said the leaves evaporate so much water and catch it before it, gets down, gets into the brooks. Yeah, I guess so. Over
So,
here.
do you remember when the Trot family singers had that concert for the Bradleys?
I can remember, yeah.
It was an honor to the Bradleys because they had,
And so many of the service
they had,
members, so many of their
three in the World War II all together, and then all 7 boys of
Yeah.
the Bradley family served in the service.
There was another family that was honored at the same time.
Hey,
Wasn't it
Yeah,
different?
2 families.
Daddy,
well,
are you
I
still
can't think
thinking
of the
of
other
the
family
show?
what.
It was awfully nice.
Still on? He's doing a joke Australia. Daddy, I'll put butter on it. Good, it was really good.
Do you like peanut butter?
Nah,
You like good old butter?
Yeah, I would love it.
it's super good.
Yeah,
Do I get to put on?
go here, take the rest of it.
What do you got there?
It's the picture when we had Molly with the pong, sugaring.
Molly?
Remember Molly, the worker she gave me?
That horse was so smart, she could hook herself up that pond. But she had a hell of a lot of, and had not trouble getting the sack buckets off the trees to dump them into the sack shed.